Okay, today will be about waiting on God's blessing. Now, many of you may be in a waiting season, and I am, but I'm talking about waiting on the blessings He's already sent. But also, it's being patient and trusting, because as you look around, you'll notice, maybe you see people that are, on their breakthrough. You see God blessing them. Maybe you've been praying for a relationship and you haven't found one. You haven't found your Ruth, or for women, you haven't found your Boaz, you're like, and you see these other people that maybe they just join your church or they're friends of yours, and then out of nowhere, boom, they automatically, get this amazing partner, and you don't have one and you're waiting. And also, we have to endure in God and not become envious of it, because what happens is we start doubting God. You see, the enemy, as you wait, the enemy will use that as an advantage. What do you make up your mind on which side you're walking, you freaking dog? Jeez. Dog can't make up her mind on which side she wants to walk on. Anyways, as I was saying, for a dog distracted me, is the enemy will use that as God's forgotten you. I mean, look at all these other people. They have their breakthroughs, their blessings, their ministries. Maybe they have, they have that great person, as I said, but you are just praying and fasting, and you're following God, and you're enduring, and you see all this stuff that other people are doing, and it sucks that you haven't gotten any blessings yet. And we can start to, lose faith. We can start turning away, like, well, God maybe has forgot about me, but He hasn't. If God promises something, as the scriptures say, then He will deliver on it. He's done it with Israel. He's done it with everybody that's ever relied on Him. He's always delivered. So I'm here to tell you, your blessing is coming. It's just God might be taking the long way around. Okay? And what that means is, I believe it's in Matthew. If we go there, if you have a problem, look it up, is about the synagogue person. I don't know his name, but he was the synagogue leader that had a sick daughter, right? And I seen this in a pastor's sermon. He was talking about this, and it just really connected with me, okay? Like, really just seemed to hit. I'll try to keep that sun out of your eyes. But he said that the guy walked with Jesus, and he did. And it's the one where the woman had the bleeding, right? So she touched Jesus, and the healing came out. And he said, "Who touched me?" And so he was stopped there for a bit, and he started talking, and then he before all this, he'd approached God, and he said, "Could you heal my daughter?" And that's what Jesus was on his way to do, was to heal this person's child. And it said, okay. And then they were on their way, and so the woman touched him and got healed. And then he stopped and talked to the crowd and was talking about it. And then a servant came, or a person, that said, "Your daughter has died. Don't trouble the teacher any longer." And so he's like, oh, and that's bad. But God said, "Stay with me." He said, "Walk with me." And so he walked to the house, and there was people mourning. And these weren't people that actually knew the person. You could actually hire mourners, believe it or not. You could actually hire people to stand outside your house and cry. Literally, when somebody died. Like, that's the way it was in Israel at the time, in the Jews, and that's what they would do. They would pay people to cry. So you could get, for some of you that are real big crybabies, you can go get a job crying and get paid for it if you want. I didn't know that. But yeah, if you're a big crybaby, you can go cry and get paid for it. Anyways, he came to the mourners and he said, "What are you doing here? He said, why are you crying aloud?" Almost mocking them. And Jesus said, "The girl's not dead. she's asleep. And so he sent everybody out, and he went up, and he spoke to the girl, and he said, rise. And she arose. So that was him waiting on God to deliver. So you may see people advancing or getting their blessings or anointings sooner than you, but it doesn't mean that God's not on his way. He's still on his way. He's just might be taking the long way around with you, okay? Maybe he's building you up in the season so that when he gives you the blessing, as I've alluded to in other videos, you can bear it. And it won't destroy you. And you can actually, have a blessing, such as people say, oh, I want a godly spouse, I want a partner. Okay. Have you done the work to make yourself into a partner that you would want to be with? You see? You have to do the work yourself. Just praying to God and sitting there waiting, not doing anything. That's not going to give you a gift. You have to be, proactive. You have to actually do it. But this is, don't be giving into envy, and don't give the enemy any grounds. We have to take our thoughts captive, but don't let him into your head. Because the minute you see other people getting stuff and God blessing them, you're going to start getting jealous. And the first thing the enemy's going to do is going to be like, God's forgotten you. And he's just going to start with all this crap. He's going to start hitting into your head and these thoughts. And before you know it, you're doubting God, doubting his promises. And you're, decide, no, well, I give up. And the minute you give up on that blessing could have been, that door could have opened. He was going to give you that blessing, and you just give up. You just turn away. I think of the guy there, that it shows a little comic of it, is he's digging a tunnel, right? And he digs, and this is with a pickaxe. You've probably seen a little picture or a meme about it. He digs, and right when he turns around and goes back, you see, had he just gone one more swing, had he just gone that little few more steps in front of him, he would have been rich. Now you can use this as a blessing, right? If you give up now, in this season of isolation, you're waiting on God for this blessing, this partner. If you give up now, okay, your blessing could be right there. He could be ready to open that door. He could be about to open it for you, and you could walk through, but you give up and you turn away. You see? You have to endure. And the hardest thing is being envious. Trust me, before I did a lot of personal growth, I was envious, even as a Christian. I would see other people in relationship, and many of you know, or may not know, is that I've been single my entire life. I've never even had a girlfriend. So I've wanted a partner for the longest time, pretty much my entire life, but I've never had one. And I see all these other, Christian people, even YouTubers, they're making content like me, and they're, forging forward for God, advancing his kingdom, as Matthew 6:33 says, and I'm doing that, and I look around and they're getting, these feminine women, these godly partners, and they're moving forward. And before it would be envy, but now I'm happy for them. They know who they are. They're brothers in, Christ. I'm not like I was envious and jealous and asking God, when me, when am I going to get my, and as I did a lot of healing, as I outlined in a previous video of how I overcame corn, if you want to check that out, is I had to heal the trauma underneath. And I believe that's what God was telling me the whole time was, hey, you're envious of these people, but what about you? And so I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to find the root causes of why am I envious of this person, because they're in a relationship. And it's like, why am I so envious of it? And it was because digging up the root was loneliness. I was always rejected my entire life. I never had friends or, people that would come beside me. I've been, as much as I don't like saying it, I've been, a lone wolf in exile pretty much my entire life. And It's only recently, finding God and turning back to Him, that I actually, am at peace with whatever I'm going through, because I know it's not who I am, it's who the world says I am. But I look at it as I'm going to be blessed, and God's going to bless me. I'm trusting Him in faith on that. But don't get envious, okay? Don't give up on God. Your blessings are coming, okay? I know mine is, and it may not be today or tomorrow, and it may not be when I want it on my time, but I'm going to keep the faith and I'm going to trust, because God has a spotless track record if you read the Bible and His Word. Spotless. And He always delivers. So, stay on the path. Stay strong, and don't let the enemy have any footholds in your mind, and don't let that doubt set in, okay? Look at Scripture. Remind yourself, God has always delivered, okay? And if you want even more, look at Adam, all right? What did he do before he got his Eve? He worked. He prepared the garden. He took care of it. He was working before he ever had an Eve. But God brought Eve to him. So, keep trusting God. Keep praying. Keep asking for those blessings. And wait. Because if you're looking for a relationship someday, you don't know when, but He could have your Eve ready. And you could get despaired and turn away, and you walk. And that is when you could have had your Eve. You see? Trust God. We want everything now. Trust Him, and just don't let envy of others infect you. Okay? Trust God. You're on your own journey, and you're on your own path, and it's different than everybody else's. Okay? Trust God. Your blessings are on the way, and He's going to bless you. And when you get that blessing, you're going to know it's from Him, and you will give glory to Him for it. This has been A Voice in the Wilderness. Soldier, bondservant of Christ, signing off. Just have a blessed day or night whenever you watch this. And God bless each and every one of you. Stay safe in these dark and crazy times. And keep your eyes skyward for His return. Amen.